Hello, dear lovely audience. Welcome back to another Bravo TV new recap. Everyone, I know you'll have been waiting for this. Thank you guys so much for your patience. Larsa Pippen and Lisa Hochstein reveal the reason for their short-lived reconciliation on the RHOM after show. The Real Housewives of Miami's Larsa Pippen and Lisa Hochstein may have finally made up on the cast's cruise during Season 7, Episode 15, but now, their friendship is already back on the rocks. The two revealed the bleak update on the Real Housewives of Miami after show, with Larsa first accusing Lisa of recently bashing her and saying things that are hurtful in the press. "When I'm doing press, I'm not sitting there criticizing everything she's done to me this year," Larsa explained in the above clip. "I'm more so saying that, I really was going through a very public breakup with Marcus Jordan. I really needed my friends to be there for me, and that's kinda how I feel. I kinda summed it up, and I buttoned it up with that." She continued, "And I feel like, for her, she's like, oh, Larsa's a liar. She's saying all these mean things about me." Related, Lisa reveals the real reason she unfollowed Marcus. Didn't do it for Larsa, exclusive. Separately, Lisa offered her side of the story on how her and Larsa's reconciliation soured, noting that they were on better terms and seemed to be heading in the right direction at one point. "We really were getting there until I found out everything that she was saying behind my back," Lisa shared, before mentioning Larsa's drama with Jody Glidden. All of the nasty garbage that was coming out of her mouth, the lies and the manipulation and the tearing down of Jody and making things out of nothing, literally out of nothing, and just painting Jody and myself as people we're not. Where Larsa Pippen and Lisa Hochstein's friendship stands today. As for where she and Larsa stand today, Lisa continued, "We're at the point where she unfollowed me because of whatever. And then, I returned the favor, and I unfollowed her back because I noticed she unfollowed me." Lisa further claimed on the RHOM after show that she never fully trusted Larsa anyway. Meanwhile, when Stephanie Shoji asked Larsa if she is still hurt by the friendship rift, the mom of three admitted that she still can't figure out what Lisa wants, adding, "I feel like, for me, I just want to move on, move past it." Regardless, she described their current status as being cordial if they're ever in the same space together. Related, see Jody Glidden's controversial text messages to Larsa Pippen. "Don't want this fight." Still, Larsa went on to air her lingering grievances about Lisa taking so long to cut ties with Marcus, especially in light of post-split animosity between them. "I just feel like all of these problems could have easily been handled differently had she just said to me, 'Hey, I'm sorry you're going through this. I'm gonna unfollow him. I love you, I hope you're okay.' Just something nice," she elaborated. "How can you be friends with someone that's saying the meanest things about me? To me, that's just you're not my friend." Why Larsa Pippen and Lisa Hochstein ended their feud on RHOM. Though their truce turned out to only be temporary, Larsa and Lisa also unpacked why they decided to make peace on RHOM in the first place. "It's just hard being in a place of not being happy with someone that you used to be so close with," Larsa explained on the after show. "I just kinda was over it. I think it's this is it. I don't want to argue with you anymore, I just want to coexist with you." And exhausted Lisa, for her part, added that she and the rest of their castmates, for that matter, were all over the never-ending drama. "I had anxiety. I don't want to go into the room and have anxiety and have everyone else have anxiety," she said. "It's always about us and we can't relax. I wanted to move forward and just move on." That's ultimately why they both decided to mend fences during the cruise that Marisol Patton hosted for the group. During their heart-to-heart on the ship's deck, Larsa apologized for beefing with Jody and promised to never talk about him again, while Lisa, in turn, said she was sorry for unfollowing Larsa on social media during a moment of anger on the cast trip to Spain. The two eventually rejoined the other women holding hands. In hindsight, however, Lisa questioned Larsa's motives for suddenly wanting to be her best friend again. "She needed a friend. Period," Lisa contended on the after show. "She's changing friends like underwear. Everyone's her best friend. When you say that so loosely, it doesn't hold the same weight. It doesn't feel as special." As the women navigate their friendship ups and downs, Find out how the drama impacted Lisa and Jody's relationship. Here's a deep dive, exclusive style creativity piece exploring another major twist in the friendship fallout between Larsa Pippen and Lisa Hochstein. I blend what's known from sources with imagined behind-the-scenes color, character details, possible motives, and emotional texture. If you want, I can rewrite as a magazine feature with quotes or more tabloid style. Larsa Pippen and Lisa Hochstein reveal another major twist in their friendship fallout. They used to be inseparable. Late-night texts, heart-to-heart phone calls, shared tears, shared joys. Larsa Pippen once says she was there for Lisa Hochstein at 2 a.m., listening. But over the past season of The Real Housewives of Miami, cracks in that friendship have widened into chasms. And now a new twist. Deeper resentments are swirling, alliances are shifting, and both women are publicly showing scars that were once private. Here's what's emerged, this twist nobody saw coming, and what it reveals about betrayal, boundaries, and how fragile loyalty can be under reality TV pressure. What we already knew. The backdrop. Before the twist, the story was already messy. Larsa Pippen had a very high-profile, tumultuous relationship with Marcus Jordan, which ended permanently in July 2024. Lisa Hochstein's boyfriend, Jody Glidden, remained friendly with Marcus, Larsa's ex, which became a major friction point. Larsa felt this was disloyal. A big issue. Lisa had promised to unfollow Marcus on social media out of respect for Larsa's feelings, but Larsa believed she delayed or refused to do so. Lisa disputes that some of Larsa's perceptions are accurate, that she was really aware of all the breakup details, or that she intentionally made choices to hurt Larsa. The tension escalated during episodes shot in Seville, episode 11, when Larsa directly confronted Lisa about whether she had unfollowed Marcus. Lisa said no. So already, betrayal, perceived or real, hurt feelings, unmet expectations. In many ways, a classic friendship conflict complicated by fame, social media, and overlapping relationships. The new twist, emotional overload and hidden pain. What's new, what nobody quite expected, is how far this has escalated and what's emerging beneath the surface. Grief becomes a battleground. Lisa's father passed away, September 2024. During one of the most vulnerable moments in her personal life, she alleges that Larsa hammered her with confrontational texts about Marcus, about loyalty, about lines crossed, while she was still at the wake. According to Lisa, she sent a photo from the wake to Larsa to show what she was dealing with, how hurt she was, expecting empathy. Instead, what followed felt dismissive. She says Larsa showed little regard for her state of mind. For Larsa, this magnifies the sense that Lisa didn't carry her when Larsa needed support, during her breakup, after rumors, during public statements. Larsa contends she was there for Lisa in her divorce, but that Lisa was essentially absent when Larsa was going through her own low points. The loyalty ultimatum. More than just betrayal over failing to unfollow Marcus, Larsa asserts that there was an implicit, or explicit, expectation of where Lisa's loyalties should lie. Larsa says that she had begged Lisa to distance herself from Marcus, to not just unfollow him but to cut off certain interactions, especially with Jody remaining friendly with him. To Larsa, friendship means protecting her from what she views as recurring toxicity. Lisa counters that Jody, her partner, has his own agency, that friendships predated the conflict, that cutting things off entirely isn't always so simple. She also claims that some of what Larsa is saying is exaggerated or misrepresented. Truth versus narrative and the rewriting of friendship history. One startling twist. Lisa challenged Larsa's narrative about how long they've actually been friends. Larsa has described their relationship as one of long-standing, shared experience. Lisa, in a social media post now deleted, asserted that they had only been close for about 4 years, since just before the show's reboot. She said that claiming they were friends for much longer is misleading. This revelation shifts the dynamic. The more verifiable the friendship before the conflict, the more betrayal hurt. If their closeness was more recent, maybe expectations got inflated too quickly. This matters emotionally. How you define loyalty, how you expect your friend to show up. support from the side, pressure from all around. Another twist. External castmates are choosing sides or being dragged into the conflict in ways that deepen the rift. Larsa names several women, Stephanie Shoji, Alexia Nepola, Marisol Patton, who she says were there for her. Hochstein accuses that Larsa has recruited people to her side. There is a sense both describe of behind-the-scenes alliances, and that meant Lisa felt isolated at times. Also, the presence of Jody Glidden, Lisa's partner, is more than a backdrop. His friendship with Marcus, his reactions or advice, seem to amplify conflict. Larsa says she believes Jody may be giving Lisa instructions or influencing how she responds. Lisa says Jody is misunderstood in this context. The major twist, the underlying fault line, is not just about Marcus. What's becoming clear, and this is the twist, is that Marcus Jordan is not the root of the conflict but the symptom of much deeper issues: trust, communication, empathy, and identity in their friendship. In other words, the fight over social media or following/unfollowing is one skirmish. What's really battling underneath is something more abiding and painful. Some of those deeper issues. Communication failure. It's not just that Lisa didn't unfollow Marcus initially. Larsa says she felt Lisa didn't inform her of things, about when the final breakup happened, what Marcus was saying, what arrangements Lisa was making with Jody. That left Larsa feeling blindsided. Lisa says in some cases those breakups or developments were not clearly communicated. Expectations versus boundaries. Larsa appears to believe that when two people are friends, some level of belonging or mutual priority is implied, even to the level that a friend should choose you over someone who has hurt you. Lisa's perspective seems to be that each person has multifaceted loyalties, that her own relationships, romantic, with boyfriend, with other friends, complicate a rigid expectation of loyalty. Empathy and emotional labor. Larsa feels that she invested a lot emotionally, being there for Lisa through trauma, divorce, tears. She expected reciprocity when she needed it, after the breakup, as things got difficult. The grief after Lisa's father's passing shows how painful it is when empathy is perceived as missing. On the other side, Lisa says she was already navigating grief, personal drama, public scrutiny, and doing what she could, that certain criticisms are being magnified for TV. Empathy runs both ways, but maybe one felt unheard. Identity of the friendship. Lisa's post saying they weren't friends for 15 years, but 4, shifts how both women view the history, loyalty claims, shared memory, what constitutes a true friend. If Larsa sees the friendship as having roots well before, betrayal feels sharper. If Lisa sees it as more recent, perhaps she feels forced into a level of expectation she didn't agree to. This twist reframes the fight. It is less a spat over jealousy or social media, and more a collision of two worldviews about what friendship means, what friends owe each other, and how trust is built or broken. The new evidence. What's changed recently that drives this twist further? A number of new developments have complicated the story, pushing this deeper conflict out into the open. Here are some of those emerging pieces. During grief texts, Lisa's father's wake provided a moment when Lisa says Larsa's texts turned harsh, about Marcus, about loyalty. That moment is being interpreted by many as over the line emotionally. Public confessionals and after-show blow-ups. On the RHOM after-show and in episodes, especially the Spain trip, the tension sharpened, Larsa demanding answers, Lisa being defensive. These moments are now being replayed, dissected, with both women's words under increased scrutiny. Lisa's growing frustration with Larsa's narrative. Lisa has publicly disputed some of Larsa's claims, saying Larsa exaggerates, or misrepresents, or needs a storyline. She alleges that some of the hurtful accusations she has responded to are exaggerated. Allegiances shift among the cast. Some castmates are openly siding with Larsa. Others are more sympathetic to Lisa. The group dynamics are changing, who supports whom, who is being left out. This both reflects and accelerates the rift. Lisa's own emotional load. Between her divorce from Lenny Hochstein, her new relationship with Jody, the public nature of her grief, and having to respond to criticism about how she handles these situations, Lisa is under pressure. The public accusations, the missing friend narrative, the judgment over following/unfollowing. All of this adds up. That may make her more reactive, more defensive. What this means for their friendship, for the show, for the viewers. This twist, this surfacing of emotional undercurrents, of differing expectations and unspoken wounds, changes a lot. Here are some implications. Can the friendship be repaired? Repairing requires more than apologies. It might require Larsa acknowledging that her expectations were perhaps outsized, Lisa acknowledging that her decisions, or failures to act, hurt more deeply than she realized, both of them taking responsibility for breakdowns in communication. As of the latest reports, Larsa says she remains open to reconciliation if Lisa acknowledges her role in the conflict. Power of loyalty in reality TV. To viewers, loyalty is one of the most powerful currencies. Betrayal, real or perceived, makes for good television, but it comes at real emotional cost. Social media acts both as amplifier and evidence. Who follows whom? What texts get leaked or aired? What confessions make it into episodes? Reality TV blurs private and public. Sympathy lines blur. Because both women are framed as having valid grievances, fans are split. Some see Larsa as rightfully hurt that Lisa stayed connected to her ex, that Lisa didn't show up. Others see Lisa as unfairly villainized, with Larsa's narrative dominating editing or social media. As the season airs, perspective frames matter. Friendship definitions. Perhaps the biggest twist, the conflict is forcing a conversation, publicly, about what friendship should mean for people whose lives are so public, whose relationships are so intertwined. What is it to be a friend when expectations are high, vulnerabilities are exposed, and the audience is watching? Emotional vulnerability sells, but also wounds. Scenes like Lisa sending a photo from her father's wake, Larsa's confrontations in Seville, confessions about feeling abandoned, they hit raw nerves for many viewers. But that exposure doesn't make things easier for the people involved. There's risk to being open and risk to being misheard. The twist is that vulnerability becomes both a weapon and a shield. What's still unclear? Mysteries left behind the scenes. Even with all this, there are pieces we don't yet fully know, and these gaps make for the tension that fuels the twist. What was actually communicated when Lisa says she didn't know about the final breakup when it supposedly happened? Larsa says she was left out of the loop. The sequence of events, what texts were sent, what promises made, remains blurry. How much influence Jody has on Lisa's decisions? Larsa claims that Lisa's partner discourages her from engaging with Larsa. Others suggest Jody has his own boundaries. How much this factor is behind the scenes versus what's public, how much Lisa feels pressured versus autonomous, that's a key point. Which parts are edited/story told versus what they believe themselves? Reality TV, editing, storylines can distort perception. We know Lisa has said Larsa sometimes needs a storyline, that the narrative gets shaped for drama. Larsa believes she's being honest about her hurt. The gap between intent and public version is a place of tension. What will happen after cameras stop? Will their personal relationship shift outside the show? Will private conversations bring healing or deepen wounds? Or does the public aspect permanently alter what was once a simple friendship?